So, have you seen what's happening in the Congo, man?
Yeah, bro.
Like,
I've seen that sad story. I even tried to post it on YouTube,
mm,
but it was taken down, unfortunately.
Oh.
I think the video might be maybe
it violates YouTube community standards.
yeah, because it showed some children,
Naked.
children abuse.
Oh, yeah. They will come for you if you mess with kids, man.
Yeah,
like
but,
you should.
But I'm not messing with kids.
No, I
I'm
understand.
exposing the
No, remember.
that-
Yeah, no, I get you though. I get it. Even YouTube is trying to protect themselves. They don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So, I think Joe Rogan has spoken about this a few times on his show. He has invited a guest to talk about this. Man, in the Congo, man, it needs at least a 2-hour episode, man, for us to talk about that issue. But today I'll just touch on it a little bit. The Congo, man, with all historical evidence, we can agree that the Congo, from the Congo all the way to Southern Africa, or South Africa, we can agree it is like the mother of Africa. It is the center of Africa, man. I mean, geographically and historically, even culturally. It's a boiling pot of the most ancient groups of peoples.
Congo, mame.
Congo Mame, yeah, there was a song about that. And even the Bantu people are there. Like, it has the most beautiful jungles in Africa and the best deposits of natural minerals. And that's why Congo is dying, because of its minerals. Congo is dying, man, because of its minerals. And it's not just Congo, it's other countries around Congo as well. Cameroon, you have the Central African Republic. I don't even know what's happening in the Central African Republic.
And it's
Oh, my
amazing
goodness.
how they call us poor
Oh,
while
my
they
goodness.
taking our riches.
My.
Like it's
Dude, children are working there day and night, man, in Congo. Mining for cobalt. Cobalt that's then used to make the very phone that we are recording with. To make your Samsungs, your iPhones, your Huawei's. To power your, what is this? Your Teslas, man, in these electric vehicles. And these electric vehicles are amazing vehicles, man. They're nice, my brother. They're nice.
I've heard some strange stuff about those vehicles.
Obviously, there's...
Currently, they say if you draw a circle around the car, it won't move.
Okay, is it?
Yes.
Huh?
But that's one
for another day. But the point is, man, these things, these elements and minerals and resources that they mine in Congo are used in industry by the industrial complex, the powers that be. Remember, there's multiple powers that be in this world. Some others are mineral complex, the white monopoly capital, as they would put it. That's literally what the white monopoly capital, the guys who rule the minerals. Remember, they came and they took them by force, they killed. That's how it became a white monopoly capital. And then now, more increasingly, there's the Chinese getting involved in that. And then there's another complex, which is the military complex. The guys who profit off war. That's another one. They sell weapons, they profit off war. And they create war by force. Then there's other complexes. So right now, we are dealing with the mineral complex, man. Mineral resource complex. The guys who run Africa. Because Africa is not run by politicians. It's run by the guys who control the minerals. Even South Africa. When they talk about white monopoly capital, just know that we're talking about the guys who control the minerals. And they've industrialized now to also control other sectors as well. And they've advanced. They're in the insurance and they're in the banking sector as well. That's the white monopoly capital. We'll get into those ones in a second video. I think we should make this a series. But let's talk about the Congo, man. So those children there, underage children, women and men, man, are working day and night for peanuts. For literally peanuts, man. Day and night in a hard labor, man. Harsh weather conditions. It's slavery. Literal slavery, man. And a lot of these mines, né? A lot of them are Chinese mines. A lot of them are Chinese owned and Chinese operated, man. And nobody's saying anything about this. Even here in South Africa, we have so-called politicians calling themselves Pan-Africanists, shouting, "Oh, our African brothers." You have politicians reciting poems in parliament. I'm an African. Oh, the valleys and the hills. My brother, what are you saying about what's happening in Africa if you are so much an African? You're making deals with people who are oppressing your people. If for real, not for publicity, if for real you believe that those are your brothers, why are you not fighting for them? Those are the kind of questions that people need to start asking, man. People really need to start asking these questions. And even some African leaders, man, are involved in what's happening in the Congo. Do you know that? Some African leaders are involved in what's happening in Zimbabwe. I promise you.
I'm not against mining, but
No, man, that's not mining. That's slavery.
They should do it like in a proper way.
No, that is, don't even call it mining. It's slavery, man. They're taking children and using them to take out the resources. The kids are not even benefiting from those resources. The same thing that's happening in Congo, with African leaders benefiting from that, it's the same thing that's happening in Zimbabwe. A lot of politicians are benefiting from that, from those mines in those countries. Even the illegal mines here in South Africa, a lot of politicians are benefiting. The hijacked buildings, a lot of politicians are benefiting from that. So, man, this thing is a syndicate of deeply crooked people, deeply wicked people, black and white, and Chinese as well. So, for me, it's just crazy that we have people who claim to be Pan-Africanists. They claim it publicly. They're not even afraid to claim that they're Pan-Africanists. They claim that they love black people, but then they never go against what's happening there. And it's their friends who do that. The Chinese. It's their friends, the French.
Especially Malema.
It's their friends. And I know
Likes Chinese so much.
he loves the Chinese. I think if he becomes president, he will be a Chinese colon. But it's not just Malema, I mean, all of them. Ramaphosa. We don't know if he doesn't have a few mines there in Zimbabwe. I've heard that they do have some mines in Zimbabwe and the Congo. All these countries that are destabilized, man, these African countries that are destabilized. I'm not saying that South Africa will solve those problems. I'm not saying that at all. We have our own set of problems. What I'm saying is we have so-called people who claim to be protecting and who claim to love our brothers so much that they don't even speak about their issues. You go to the streets, man, you ask the average South African what's happening in Congo, they don't know. They don't know. You go to any other country in the world, you ask the average citizen what's happening in the Congo, they do not know. And yet, in all likelihood, they use something that was mined by those children there. It's sad. It's inhumane. It's evil, man. It's literal hell on earth. Those children are living in hell, my brother.
And even for me, bro, I only saw one news outlet who reported on this.
They won't. Do you know why? Because there's a lot of stakeholders, man. It's not just the French or the Americans. A lot of stakeholders, including African leaders, are benefiting from that.
The media owners as well.
Those ones. Because the media owners are the same guys who benefit from there. If you look at the owner, just go online, check News 24. Look at the owner there. You will realize that he's connected to someone who's in America, who's connected to someone who's connected to someone who's in mining. Do you understand? Check CNN. They're all connected one way or another, man.
Even in drugs.
Bro, it's crazy. And they're raping the land of Africa and destroying her children in that process. All I'm saying is that I'm appealing, man, that let's not be hypocrites. If we are so Pan-Africanist, we so love our brothers, let's not love them with our mouths only. Let's show that we support them in their journey of self-determination. And it's not just the Congo, man. In Cameroon, you know, the English-speaking Cameroonians and the French-speaking Cameroonians, they hate each other, man. Some Congolese people will tell you that Rwanda is involved in what's happening in Congo. Some Congolese people, they will tell you that no, Rwanda is involved. Some Rwandese people are not even allowed in Rwanda. These are the kind of issues that if you are so serious about uniting Africa, you should resolve them. You can't take things from the surface, man. You should resolve these issues. I have a friend. He's a Hutu. You know him, Victor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's from Rwanda. That guy can't go back home, man. He can't go home. His family will be killed. You see, I have a Congolese friend, Kashema. Aman. Yeah. He's here in South Africa, man. In order to have a good and decent life, he has to come here. And these are the issues that we should be discussing. If we're talking about African unity, you don't just unite, man. It doesn't just happen. You solve problems first. You solve problems. So that when we unite, we have an agenda. So that's why I'm saying the people who call for African unity are just lying, man. It's not going to happen. They're liars. You need to talk to Museveni of Uganda. Ask him what his plans are. Does he plan on leaving the office? Go to Nigeria, figure out what's happening there. You can't just claim, oh, Pan-Africanist. And then Africans need to unite, man. What is the role of the African Union in this thing of uniting Africa?
Wouldn't you say maybe we are so dependent on our leaders for solutions?
We are. Majority of Africans are dependent on leaders for solutions, man.
Isn't it maybe time for that to change?
It should change, absolutely. So when I was in Joburg, because I'm not in Joburg now, I used to be a part of an institute for Pan-African thought and conversation. Met a lot of different Africans from the Caribbean, Africans from West Africa, East Africa, and sort of all other places. I met a Cameroonian who told me exactly what's happening. And he's an academic. It's not just an average guy, you know. I met a lot of Nigerian professors, Haitian, Jamaican as well, from the West Indies as well. Those are men who are not in government. Those are people who are doing something, man. You see? So there is some initiative, but it's very few people who are doing that. But they're doing something, they're building bridges, and I think if we can do that, you know, the government they'll just follow through with that and take credit. So I agree with you. We should not obviously depend on the government for solutions. We should be more hands-on.
Because we are the people who supply the government with skills and knowledge.
I agree
Maybe
with you.
It's time to use the knowledge for our benefit.
I agree
not
with
for
you.
the benefit of the employer or the government.
I agree with you. Totally agree. I'm not even going to say more. That's exactly what I was saying with that whole thing I was mentioning about South Africa Black South Africa need to take over and create instead of expect from someone. Because we are more than 80% of the population. Think about that. If we can, a lot of us can be more involved in entrepreneurship, more involved in initiatives, things will change for the better for everyone in South Africa. Not just for black people, for everyone. Because when black people prosper, everyone has to prosper one way or another. It has to trickle down to everyone. It's a ripple effect.
Everyone in Africa, because
everyone in Africa
once we start prospering,
everyone in Africa and even beyond.
Will feel
even beyond, in the whole world, man.
The countries who are ripping us off right now,
yeah,
will actually feel the pain.
Yeah,
when we start doing things for ourselves.
For ourselves, we need to do for self. Unless you do for self, then you're a slave, man. Why are we so enslaved? And a part of this, is the economics. Just a short analogy. So our traditional economy, man, was based off of cattle and precious stones, right? Gold, silver, copper. We used to mine and, deal with that. And then we used to value cattle a lot. We used cattle, weapons, and precious stones as currency. But cattle was the base currency, like the original currency. Now, this is important because cattle was so important that we knew the different types of cattle. You knew an ox has a particular purpose. A bull has a particular purpose. A heifer has a particular purpose. And a calf has a certain purpose. A bull, you take care of your bull so that it can, mate with the female cows so that they can have calves. So a bull is extremely important. That's capital, right? That's capital. Inkunzi. Now, you took care of your oxen so that you could use them to farm. So the oxen, they ensure that we have something to eat. Whereas the bulls ensure that we have currency. And then whenever there's a ceremony now, symbolic ceremonies, which are important for the spiritual aspect of things, you used to take the skin and use it for clothing, for blankets, and for other purposes. So clothing was taken care of, food was taken care of, continuity in terms of financial continuity was taken care of only by taking care of cattle. That's just one aspect. Just by cattle alone, you could farm through your oxen. You could have more calves, which means more money, which means more assets through your bull. You take care of the female cows, they give birth to nice calves. Female cows, they give birth to nice calves. You make sure the calves are well fed. So already for the next 50 years, okay, I'm sorted in this family. That's why a lot of our people had to keep a lot of cows. And cows were not the primary source of food, man. A lot of the food came from milk.
Yeah.
A lot of the food came from honey.
A lot of meat.
Yeah, no, meat, it was just for ceremonies most of the time. And when it's cold, like winter time, okay, they would be slaughtering because we needed the skin, right? But it was done in a very disciplined way. We ate a lot of milk, honey, and what is this? Sorghum, amabel, amazimba. Yeah, we ate a lot of that. Those are wholesome foods, man. And we hunted a lot, which is even better meat when you go and hunt a springbok or a deer, ikudu. Yeah, that's much better meat. Hey, baba, imbabala. You see? So our ancestors understood, man. So now I think what we used to store seeds as well. We used to store seeds. There's something called umsele. Umsele is a furrow that you dig in the booth or in the kraal. You dig that furrow and then you dig it deep like a trench and then you put all your mealies there. umsele. You
Yeah,
put all your
others
mealies there.
will be actually placed
On the roof in Tungu. Or others would be placed in Nyangweni. So in Nyango is like a hut that is elevated. So it's not dug on the ground. It's a hut, yabon, a boom, and then you elevate it and then you'd store in there. So they were different. So you'd call it a barn. A skier in Afrikaans, a barn. So you'd have barns to store food, you'd have furrows and trenches to store food, and you'd store food on the roofs as well. For what? For the dry seasons. Because the year has cycles. There's rainy season, there's hot season, there's dry season, and all that. Our ancestors understood the art of saving. They understood the art of investment. This is investment. I just told you about investment, man. Generational wealth. They understood it. Alas, the Europeans came. They told you now, no, we're taking these cows by force. Especially the Dutch. They took the cows. They even convinced the Xhosa to even kill the cows at some point. Under King Sahili of the Galega tribe. They even convinced them to kill the cows because they had to destroy the economic structure of our people. Then they told us that, no, man, you see these cows, forget about them. This is what's worth now, money. And we've been grappling with that concept up to this day. We understand investment, man. We understand saving. We understand diversifying your investment because you wouldn't have cows only. You'd have cows, you'd have chicken, you'd have goats, you'd have sheep, you see? You'd have horses and donkeys, yeah. Pigs as well, yeah. Horses and donkeys. Man, people had a lot of animals. Geese and ducks.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So this idea that we didn't know about diversifying, we understood this, man. Except that we lost land and we lost everything that comes with the land. And then they gave us currency, financial currency, fiat currency. And we've been struggling to understand how it works. We still don't understand to this day, man. We think money is for consumption. We think money is for us to pay off things. But money is not that. It's a unit of exchange upon which people have agreed. And you can use it now as money. Currency, you can use it as money to buy off your freedom. That's literally what money does. You're buying freedom. Rich people are free. Wealthy people are free because they can buy it off with money. So they can delegate the things they want to do to other people. Do you understand? That's exactly what our ancestors did. They would marry 10 wives. Each of those wives would have their own children. Those children would literally build the wealth of this man because it's also their wealth. Do you see it? 10 wives and in the same yard. That's what the Muslims do. When I was in Cape Town, my neighbors were Muslim. They run a business. It's a huge house that they have. They all stay there, including the workers. Everyone stays there. I think one of the sons is a dentist or a surgeon or whatever, but he's in the medical field. He stays there. The man is the patriarch of the house. They stay there with their wives. Like it used to be in our culture, man. You stay here. You stay here in your house with your kettle. It becomes the cumulative wealth of the family. But today, because we've accepted a system that's foreign to us, we are unable to reconcile our true nature and the nature of this system, which is anti-us. So I think that's another problem, and is that the economics don't balance. They don't balance. So what we can do, Tina, we can translate our economic understanding, our economic, methods into today's terms. That's why there's something called Islamic finance. Because the finance of Muslims is not going to be the same as the finance of English people. Even the Jewish people have their own way of finance. You see? Like the Rothschilds, the Rothschild people, from way back in Germany, in the Ashkenazi Jewish settlements, they had their own way of banking. You see? The Kirsch families, they have their own way of doing business amongst each other. We need to do that. But in order for us to do that, we need to get away of these identities that we've been labeled with. Black people, what. Get away from those things. Understand us as the Bantu people and our culture. Our culture is our power. The moment we embrace the culture comes with the economics. The culture comes with the spirituality. The culture comes with the identity. Get away from these European concepts. Black people. You're talking about someone who's from Tunisia and you call them black people. They have a completely different way of life. Yes, we are related because we are human and we are all black. We're the original human beings. But they have a different way of life. But you want to force them to follow your way of life. It's not going to work, man. How about you start working with the person next to you, person in your community?
And it never works like that.
It never, and it shouldn't. Unity doesn't mean you live your own and you mix with the other. You become yourself in fullness. And then you can complement each other. Do you understand? Yes. So that's what we need, man. The economics right now is a foreign concept to our people. So what maybe we should do is to transfer the knowledge that we have, the bit of knowledge that we still have of economics from our ancestors, translate it into today's terms. I'll give you a few examples. Stock fair. A stock fair is a very simple idea. Stock comes from the word from livestock, like cows, livestock. Fair, it's a fair, like a career fair, whatever, a market. So livestock market, people come together, you show off your livestock, or we come together, we give you capital to sell your livestock, or we help you, whatever, and then next time it comes back to someone else, the next time it comes to someone else. It's a cycle, it's a stock fair. It used to happen a lot in the Eastern Cape. So what our parents did, they took it, they translated it into finance because we don't have cows anymore. And then they call it stock fair. That's what it is. Come together, we do crowdfunding for one person. They do whatever they need to do. We do crowdfunding for the other person. We do crowdfunding for the other person. That's what stock fairs are. So you can take that, translate it into, or interpret it using our own principles. For example, inkunzi, the bull, that's your capital, man. You can't eat it. You can't spend your capital because you don't slaughter the bull. Because the bull is what? Is continuity, it's sustenance. Without the bull, the entire nation dies because then there won't be calves. So you can't mess with your capital. You can't mess with the principal investment. Then you have your interest, which is amatol, the calves. You see, you don't chow amatol, man. You tender them, you know? You tend them. You lead them to pasture so that they grow up well. That's what you do with your capital. You reinvest it. You don't just look at capital, let me chow it. No. If you want to chow, you distribute a particular amount in a particular period. Just like we used to slaughter around ceremonies and winter periods. You call that dividends or money attributable to the owner. You see? So we can take the ideas of our ancestors. That's just a very, 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 very brief, proposition of what we can do. Take the ideas of our ancestors in farming, the storing of seeds, the storing of mealies in the house. You use that to find a, and even the staying together in one house, family staying together. You can do that with your kids, man. You buy big land, make sure your child stays at home with his wife. You just separate the entrances or whatever. The other son stays with his wife. All the incomes come together under one property, and then you invest. You own everything under a trust. That's what these white people are doing. We just need to be able to explain it in our own understanding, in our own way. If we can explain it in our own way, I think it would be easier for our people to understand what's going on. And I think I'm going to stop there for now. But that was just a very, very brief deep dive into the economic side of things. Because if we don't address the economics, we can be African all we want. We can be awakened and conscious all we want. You will still go to bed with a hungry stomach. Peace.